Time for the only radio show of its kind. Auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, veterans of vintage. It's the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. For the next hour, enjoy great information about buying and selling antiques and collectibles, and some interesting stories. Now, the Donley Auctions Hour.
Welcome to the Donley Auctions Hour. Thank you for joining us. Yes, we have some interesting stories today. We're here every Saturday at 1 o'clock. I'm Susan.
And I'm Randy Donley.
And I'm here with Randy Donley. We just got back from a week-long road trip. And
boy, it was.
And we're still together, so we haven't broken up. Didn't break up once. So
yeah, what a surprise.
I'm going to tell a couple stories from that trip. Our trip to Niagara Falls and Jamestown, New York. It was amazing.
Well, you know, this is one thing we do is we go on the road because we, selling so much of our merchandise on the internet, we don't always get to know our customers. We know them only by phone or bids. And so when we have the opportunity to actually to go out and meet our customers, it's really a lot of fun. The surprise of the collections that we get to see. It's incredible.
He said, if you're ever in the area, well, we just happened to be in that town on our way to Niagara Falls. So we stopped in to look at a collection of a customer of ours. It was amazing. It was an arts and crafts collection. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, yeah, what city were we even in?
We were in Jamestown, New York.
Jamestown, New York. Okay.
Which is also the home of the Lucy and Desi Museum and the National Comedy Museum.
And boy, we didn't know that before.
Until we got there.
What interesting. Well, we stopped at this gentleman's location, and it just looked like a small little building.
Little antique shop that's not open yet. He's going to open in
not
the
even
spring.
Open to the public at this point. So we get in, and the place is packed. First, I mean that's what happens when people open antique shops. Is the very first time you get into them, they're packed full of goodies. But it's always hard to keep that quality of merchandise rolling. So you always want, when somebody's opening an antique shop, get in there first and fast because that's where the treasures are. And this place was packed.
Yes, it was. So he said, hey, you want to see my collection? Well, of course we do. That was another reason we went there, not only to build a relationship with the client, see his collection, and to see his new shop that will be opening in the spring. So he takes us in an elevator, a wood elevator.
Big old freight elevator.
Freight elevator with no
Huge.
sides, and says, be careful, stay away from the edge. And we proceeded to go down 5 stories.
5 stories. And we never knew this building had been built onto the side of a hill. So when we pull up to it, it's just this little tiny shop, one level. But little do we know this place is cavernous, and oh my God!
Well, it's 6 stories total. So we went. The main store is on the 5th level. There's a story upstairs, and then we went down for it. Of course, Rainey's like, "Oh my gosh, where are we going? What are we doing? Where's my firearm when I need it?" But it turned out to be the most amazing, spectacular collection of arts and crafts I have ever seen.
Yeah, I haven't witnessed anywhere this good a collection in museums across the country. He had everything, all the copperware and
furniture,
and
textiles,
Stickley and Limbert, and it was just an arts and crafts
and it was
dream.
displayed beautifully. Yep. So we told him, we'll keep an eye out if there's anything out there. We'll definitely give him a call. So if you have anything like that in the arts and crafts category, give us a call.
And if you don't know what arts and crafts is, this is a period of design style in this country, in the United States, that took place really, I would say, from 1905 to 1915. It wasn't a long period of time. Again, if you're not familiar with that style, you really need to do a little research so you're aware of what it is, and just Google arts and crafts antiques online and see what this whole movement was at that period of time.
I'd love to get some in an auction. They are extremely valuable, certain pieces. So we will help you with that education as well if you want to give us a call at 815-923-7000. So what I was going to say is if you've ever taken a road trip with Randy Donley, every half an hour or so, it's like, pull over, slow down, pull in here.
Yeah,
you got to check that out.
And ladies and gentlemen, it's not because I have to go to the washroom. It's because I see stuff along the road.
God forbid a garage door is left open. Oh, my gosh. It took us forever to get to our destination because we had to stop.
Well, even when we pulled into, what's the city? Where were we at?
Niagara Falls?
No, in
Jamestown.
So we pull in for gas, and I just couldn't believe my good fortune.
And the gas station was pretty much closed.
Yeah, at that time, yeah. But 21 or 23 years ago, they took down this huge, Sunoco gas sign that it was 60 foot in the air, one of these big rotating signs, 16 foot across, 11 foot tall, and the thing is still there. And lo and behold, it's for sale. So
I see the look on your face, looking at the minivan, looking at the sign, going, how do I fit this in the car? And then, of course, Mike Donley says, well, just strap it to the roof.
Which is impossible.
No, we did not do that. But the things we find in our travels.
We're making arrangements to bring that back right now for our
annual November Fall Classic.
Sale, yeah.
Yes, so we're looking for some great consignments like that in the Petroliana category as well.
And, so that's one thing that I do want to point out because, we're Donley Auctions Hour. We highly recommend that you auction your merchandise because you'll get more for it. But on the other hand, we do buy antiques. I mean, we buy and auction. We are always auctioning. We don't just sell outright. We auction because we always feel you get the most money at auction. But sometimes people say, you know what, I don't trust an auction. I don't want to take the time for an auction. Many, many reasons people don't want to use an auction, and that's okay. We will buy outright and direct. Like this sign, for example. He's not going to send it from New York to us and spend the money on transportation for auctioning. So, we'll just, in a situation like that, we just buy it outright, we ship it ourselves, and it'll be in our November auction.
That's right. So we are still taking consignments for that, for Petroliana items, specifically like gas pumps, signs, advertising, cars, motorcycles. Do you have any of that in your house, folks? Give us a call at 815-923-7000 or email us with some photos and some information about where you're located, and we'll give you the next steps. Easy.
So yes, at any rate, if you're traveling with me, be prepared to stop a lot because as I see something, I will stop.
Yeah, and you can never.
I'll stop a dozen times.
You never know what time your destination is, even though it says 9 hours. It probably took us 11 to get there. But also during our travels, another funny stop was this huge cannon you saw on the side of the road. It was in a park, an abandoned park somewhere. We always talk about cannons.
Yeah, this park. There is no park anymore.
No park.
All
it was just
you can see where there was a park, and here's a big, huge Civil War naval cannon in the middle of this empty field. Mm-hmm. It's like, what on earth is this thing still doing here?
Yeah, we're going to do a little research on that. See if we can get that.
We're working on that for
Illinois
for a future auction. And,
oh my gosh.
And, again, municipalities, this happens all the time. It was a great idea, 30, 40, 50 years ago to put these things in parks and everything. But unfortunately, nowadays with lawsuits and kids playing on these things and breaking their teeth and so on, accidents happen. So very often municipalities and city, they just take this stuff out.
Right.
And very often it just gets sold off. So Donley Auctions can sell all these items for you.
Apparently the bigger the better, because we also saw a tank.
Oh, my God.
I thought he was going to have a heart attack. Stop the car.
Again, here's an abandoned, I swear to God, an abandoned, closed up for I don't know how many years.
We got to get that tank.
Old VFW hall. And this tank has been there probably since the end of World War II, I would assume.
Yeah, that's right.
But it has not been maintained. The building was all a shambles. The tank is still there, all rusted up. And Donley Auctions to the rescue. We're going after it.
That's right. Another part of our travels last week was a stop in New York. We went to Ithaca for your son's graduation from Cornell. Congratulations, Scott.
Yeah.
So on our way back to New York, we went to Well, we wanted to go check out this Western Electric item in New York. So tell us what we need to do with that.
Well, actually, we'll talk about that in the next segment.
You want to talk about it next?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
Okay, great. Well, in the meantime, we're going to also let you know about a fantastic military auction we have coming up September 23rd and 24th. And some of the stories that have come in recently with some of those items, I can't wait to tell you about it, folks. So don't go anywhere. We're going to keep talking about the military auction and, our next auction coming up in just a few weeks already, the camera collection. So we have a fantastic press release and some information on the camera collection I want to share with you in our next segment as well.
Yeah, and that auction's actually going to take place right in Arlington Heights.
Yeah, you got to come out to Arlington Heights, Illinois. We're going to do an off-site auction for that one because that's where the collection is housed. Might as well just do the auction live from there. But again, all that information is on our website at DonleyAuctions.com. Don't forget to call us at 815-923-7000. We're still taking consignments, folks, even for the military auction, September 23rd. We're going to talk more about that coming up right here on AM 560, The Answer.
They've been called auctioneers of antiques, collectors of cool, even veterans of vintage. And they can introduce themselves. Thanks for listening. This is the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back to the Donley Auctions Hour. I'm Susan. I'm here with my co-owner, Randy Donley. We're with Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. We're just 60 miles west of Chicago, folks. And, we have a fantastic auction coming up I want to tell you about September 9th. It is the camera collection of the International Photography Hall of Fame.
Right, yeah.
It's coming up at 10 o'clock on Saturday, September 9th. Mark your calendars because this is a vast collection of cameras and related items from the International Photography Hall of Fame in St. Louis, Missouri. The collection encompasses the entire history of photography as well as pre-photographic era.
It's really such an astounding collection in that, these items have been collected up over the last 100 years and never been offered for sale before. This is the first and probably only time in our lifetime that they'll be available for sale now. Because the organization is not going out of business by any means, but they have opted to take down their display, and they're not going to put it in storage. Rather than putting it in storage, they're offering it to the public for public auction. And
that's right.
Here it is.
At the end of 2022, the Board of Directors voted to focus on honoring members of the Hall of Fame, including collecting their works. In addition, their commitment to education and international growth. So part of that process, they decided to deaccession some of these items and made them available for sale to the public. Right. So let me tell you about some of the highlights, because I did not realize this until I saw it on this piece of paper today. There's just some great rare pieces in there, like a spirograph disc motion picture projector from 1922.
Wow.
That's in there. And it's all online now, folks, too. You can go to DonleyAuctions.com. Click on the red button. It'll take you directly to the auction online and these items that I'm talking about. There's also an example of the original Kodak camera from 1888. Have you seen that?
I have.
Oh, my gosh. It's fantastic.
And it's incredible that truly film, as we know it, was really such a short snapshot of history. No pun intended, snapshot. But the reality is, Kodak film allowed us to have all these photographic images for, the whole, couple centuries that it did. But film is a thing of the past now.
I know. So for those photography collectors or even anyone interested in just grabbing a collection of cameras for decoration or staging, we have early detective cameras. We've got Leica, Canon, Rolleiflex. The list goes on and on. A Graflex Big Bertha that they used for sports photography in the 1940s. A periscope camera from World War II from a Japanese submarine.
It's again, an amazing collection. But you did touch on something that really our listeners need to know about, and that is you mentioned for decorating purposes and everything. There's cameras here in every price range.
Oh yeah, huge lots to single items.
Lots of cameras. We're selling so many cameras that we're selling some lots.
By 20 of them in a
20,
box.
30, exactly. Mm-hmm. And for knick-knack shelves and everything,
these
are great decorator items.
That's right. So that is going to be happening in Arlington Heights. The location, the address is on our website at donleyauctions.com.
Right, and it's right on Arlington Heights Road. It's easy to get to. It's a former bank building.
That's right. And we're going to do a preview for that on the day before, Friday from like noon to 5 p.m. So if you're in the area and you want to come out, definitely come out and preview everything we have. And then the auction starts at 10 a.m. on Saturday. And,
this is a location, too, that we're thinking about expanding and possibly doing more auctions there. We want to see if the audience actually shows up. And if so, we may be doing a whole series, Susan, of charity auctions, because this building actually is owned by Kevin McCaskey, and that's McCaskey as in the Bears McCaskies. And
the one and only, yes.
Kevin is a very good friend of ours, and he's let us use this building right now for this auction. And he said, Randy, he said, I'm all about charities. He said, what do you have coming up that we could do some charity auctions out of this building? And, so that's
Donley Auctions will travel. We're going to be portable. We can go anywhere now.
Yep. But we might be looking for another site right here in Arlington Heights at the Arlington Heights.
That's great.
Yep.
And just a little plug to the Mr. McCaskey, if you have not been to the Arlington Ale House in Arlington Heights, oh my gosh, please stop by there. That's all I'm going to say. You need to go check out Kevin's bar. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it really is.
So anyway, in addition to cameras, we have interspersed with the cameras our high-quality lenses, Voigtlander, Darlot, Wallenstock, just so many, a good selection of early movie cameras, Edison, Pathé. It just rounds off the first session of the auction. Then we also have large lots of later cameras and photographic materials, 35-millimeter Kodaks, movie cameras, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on and on. So a lot of stuff to see September 9th. Mark your calendars.
And when we do an auction like this, don't think that this is the only camera auction that we're going to be doing. If you have a camera collection, if you have cameras or especially projection equipment, we always love things out of the movie industry, movie cameras, movie projectors and everything out of theaters. We definitely are always staging auctions for these type of items. So just because we have an auction doesn't mean it's the only auction of its kind.
That's right. And I remember, too, on part of our travels at the Niagara Falls, we went to see a movie about the daredevils, the people who've actually gone over the falls, on a big, huge IMAX screen. That was fantastic. It was only half an hour, but it was very good. But on the wall, they had an old movie poster. Remember that thing?
It was
how big? It was
incredible.
In like 4 to 6 pieces or whatever. So movie posters are really collectible today, too.
Yeah. So whatever you have, think about it. Give us a call.
815-923-7000. I want to jump right into now to another auction we have coming up because we had so many great items come in while we were gone. And that's our military and gun auction, September 23rd and 24th. And I know you have a story you're just itching to tell us.
And this might go into two segments because
I know
there's a lot to talk about.
I know how you like to talk, yes.
We received a silver bowl.
Okay.
A silver bowl with a etching on it. And basically, this bowl was presented to a 48-year-old woman in 1892 from the GAR. Now, the GAR is the Grand Army of the Republic, which was Civil War veterans. And they awarded this woman this bowl and a medal and everything for her bravery because there was an angry mob who was going to rip down the American flag.
How dare them?
Think about it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is the kind of thing that's going on today. In 1892, they were a mob, and I have to say this, but it's true, of Democrats was going to
factual history. Yeah.
It's true. They were going to take down the American flag because they were upset that the American flag was in front of a school. And there was a whole program to put flags in front of all the schools. And people in town felt that they didn't necessarily want the American flag in front of the school where their kids went to school. So this woman hears about this angry mob coming to rip the flag down. She grabs a double-barrel shotgun, runs to the schoolhouse, gets there before the mob, and when they arrive, she tells them right out, first person tries to take down this flag, I'm going to shoot you dead. And in fact, she stood guard, wouldn't let anybody take down the flag, and the crowd finally dissipated, and she saved the flag. She saved the flag from being torn down, 48-year-old woman, and she received from the city a gold medal. She received this silver bowl from the GAR, and we have the bowl and this award, and we have all these letters from 1892 of organizations thanking her for her bravery and what she did and everything. And it's just an amazing story. And, here we're passing this history on in our September auction. I mean, these are the kind of items that truly belong in museums.
Right.
But they come out of homes all the time with these fabulous stories. And
I think the moral of the story is if you believe in something, you stand up for it.
Yeah.
That's right, folks, especially when it comes to our American flag. But anyway, that item's coming up September 23rd and 24th. We're still taking consignments for it. We're going to talk about some other items that have come in that may be of interest. But mainly the reason for telling you this is to educate you on what items are valuable nowadays that you might have and that we could probably put in an auction coming up soon. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here every Saturday on AM 560, The Answer. And coming up next, I even want to talk about Behringer motion window displays. There's a topic of discussion. Again, just trying to find out if you guys have any of this in your house. That's
Who
all.
knows?
Who knows? AM 560, The Answer. Who knows?
You're listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back. Susan and Randy here from Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. We were just talking about some fantastic military items we had come in while we were gone for our military auction September 24th. And one was that silver bowl. What a great story. Thanks for sharing that.
Well, you bet. It is an amazing story of heroism and the fact that a 48-year-old woman takes a double-barrel shotgun.
Well, also the provenance that comes with it is key.
Right. It really is. This woman, by the way, was from Indiana, in case any of you out there in Indiana are interested. It belongs in an Indiana museum.
That's right.
So get an angel investor to buy this at the auction, and it can be in your museum. It belongs in a museum.
I want to talk about some of the other things we have coming up that may be of interest to people. These are the type of items we sell on a regular basis in our military and firearm auction. I know I had mentioned a couple weeks ago about all the snake guns that came in. I cannot wait for those to go up for auction. We have 22 snake guns.
You just love saying snake guns.
I just think they're beautiful pieces of artwork for sure. I mean, they came in a case. They're silver and nickel, and oh my gosh, they're just beautiful.
And again, for you listening
Different
for the
sizes.
first time, snake guns simply refer to the models. And they're Colt pistols, and they're called Colt pythons, Colt anacondas, So people just commonly refer to them as snake guns, but they're not for
from one collector,
not for shooting snakes by any means.
And some of them even have the Colt letters with them, so that's also very important to keep in
And we
mind.
have a whole collection of single action, first generation single action Colt pistols. I mean, this auction coming up in September has an amazing assortment of weapons from antique to modern and everything in between.
And a lot of those have come from our listeners. So thank you for those of you who have called us and emailed us while we were gone. The guys went out on a bunch of pickups. We come back and the entire vault is full of brand new firearms. So we've got some great stuff coming up September 23rd. Also, we got a collection of British helmets.
Yes.
You say anything about those?
No, just
we've got some British helmets, yeah.
Yeah, British, German, Japanese, American. I always like to point out that
I love helmets.
That American helmets are worth so much money.
They are.
World War II American helmets, because too often people have an American helmet in a garage sale, and they're selling it for $5 and $10, when in fact a World War II helmet normally starts for junk at $100 and goes up into the thousands. It's not at all unusual for a World War II American helmet, if it's got any painting on it, to go $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. But there have even been, American World War II American helmets as high as $25,000. And this is the kind of stuff that people they don't know. and they sell this stuff off at garage sales and connected house sales and everything.
Yeah, that's the one thing I always look for. You told me, I said, tell me something to look for when we go to these antique malls and the shops and the stores on all of our travels. Look for an American helmet and a Japs chips container.
Yep.
Those are the two things I always look for when I'm browsing.
But I will point out, too, that you bought an American helmet.
Yes, I did.
For $400, and you thought, oh, my God, I'm spending too much on this. And we actually ended up selling that for just under $5,000.
Yes, it paid for our first Disney trip with the kids. Yeah. Sort of. I don't think it would pay for that nowadays. But
probably not.
Anyway, so we got some great helmets. We have some insignia, hundreds of lots of insignia in these huge binders. So you got to check our website for that. I think a lot of that is foreign.
Well, a lot of it is Czechoslovakian.
Yes.
So, and that is so rare. And again, with the Czech museums throughout the city of Chicago, a lot of this is museum quality merchandise that belongs, in Czech museums. It really does.
Another thing I always really love to see in our auctions, but it's sad to me too, are the Purple Hearts. We have 3 of them, I believe, so far that actually are named on the back. So I just there's a story behind each one of those.
There is, and the Vietnam ones that are the most current ones that we have, are actually killed in action, Purple Hearts. And one would say, why aren't they in the family?
I know. What did they do with them?
Well, yeah, but what happens too often is, families, they just end. At some point, there's no relatives left
to pass it on
to pass it on to. And what else can they do with it other than they put it at auction, and it goes into private collections and museums and displays, and we can really find the right homes for these things. So they're not
continue it's TLC.
Not disrespected by any means and everything. So
that's correct. So again, our military auction, we're still taking consignments for firearms and ammunition. That's September 23rd. Military relics, September 24th.
Right. But, you teased the audience in our last segment. You said, we're going to be talking about Derringers. Okay.
When we come back. But also, name a famous person who has been awarded a Purple Heart. How about Charles Bronson, World War II?
Charles Bronson.
Yeah, James Garner, Korean War.
Yeah.
And my favorite, Oliver Stone, Vietnam. Wow. And he said that movie, Platoon, was based on a lot of his actual experiences in Vietnam. Huh. Interesting, huh? A little bit of trivia for you there, folks. Just want to make the show interesting, let you know about some of the items we're looking for upcoming auctions. We're going to talk about the Behringer motion displays next, I promise.
No, sure. Okay.
Because it was one of my favorite things. I think we even saw one in someone's house recently. I got to find out more. But anyway, don't go anywhere. Call us at 815-923-7000 and keep listening to the Donley Auctions Hour right here on AM 560, The Answer.
And now, more of the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer.
Welcome back. Donley Auctions Hour here with Susan and Randy. Donley Auctions in Union, Illinois. We want to talk about one of my favorite advertising pieces, and they're called Behringer Motion Window Displays.
I've always loved Behringer motion displays, and we'll explain what they are in just a minute. But, what we like to do is tease your brains and try to just give you an idea to something to go Google and learn more about. Because if you're not familiar with Behringer, and that's Baranger, Behringer motion displays, they were made for jewelry stores.
Right.
And one of the reasons that we want to talk about more of them today is there were so many jewelry stores in the city of Chicago over the years, the turn of the century, and the suburbs and everything, that it's very likely that there's plenty of these laying around homes and basements and everything throughout the city that may still be there. They're extremely expensive, and you need to know more about them.
At least $4 figures easily if anyone has one of these. They're mechanically animated window displays for jewelry stores. They were produced from 1925 to 1959 by the Behringer Company of South Pasadena, California.
Right.
They were manufactured in production runs limited to approximately 30 each, with a total of only 167 different designs ever produced.
Right.
So we saw a huge collection of them at the House of Rock.
House on the Rock.
House on the Rock, yeah.
Mm-hmm. House on the Rock in Wisconsin has a
They've got
large,
about 100 or so.
Display. And Michael Pollack, an extreme collector from Arizona, has a phenomenal collection of these. But
what I loved about them, though, is that they never sold them.
The company did not sell them.
They did not sell them.
They
were
leased
not for sale.
them to you.
They rented them to the jewelry stores, yeah.
But over the years, they got out of their possession somehow. I mean, they were all over. At one time, when I was a very young, preteen, when my father was a collector, I mean, he had 2 or 3 of these over the years, which is a lot to just run into. I mean, he's a collector from Berwyn and ends up with a couple of them. They're around.
What did he do with them?
Oh, he sold them off
over
the years.
Okay, good. Yeah, they're very, very valuable today. If you do have any,
in
the thousands
of dollars. Yeah. And, some of them are $20,000, $30,000, $40,000. And these, again, are the kind of things that you can have in your home. If you don't know what it is, you've got to call Donley's, because we will tell you what you have and give you a pre-auction estimate.
815-923-7000. Again, if you're an email person, send us some photos and we can also, verify what you have. I know some of the carousels and some of them with band organs are some of the more valuable ones.
Well, and
you have a whole Behringer book sitting here.
I certainly do. I've got it right in front of me right now. And the Rip Van Winkle emotion is one of the absolute most desirable over the years. But
I'll be darned.
All different styles, all different types. The space ones with early flying saucers and spaceships are extremely desirable. Again, because of the crossover. We tell you all the time, folks, about if a item is collectible in more than one field, like a Behringer display is collectible to people who collect jewelry and jewelry displays, motion displays, automatons, antique toys, and or any of the subjects like space and Wild West or early Black Americana. All these different fields also collect, Behringers.
And that brings us to one of my favorite categories in our November annual Fall Classic is advertising. So I would love to find a Behringer for our November auction. If you have one out there, folks, let us know.
In November, we're also doing toys. Now, that's something else that while we were gone, toys flooded in.
I walk in the door and the display cases are full of toys.
Donley Auction looks like it got invaded by Toy Story. I swear to God, all these toys came in while we were gone. That's another thing. It was so fun to be gone for a week just to see, when you're there and the stuff comes in, you don't pay as much attention to it as being gone for a week.
Right.
And coming back and going, oh, my God.
What happened here? But there's 1930s trucks and race cars. What you were telling me about yesterday were the space toys.
All the space toys from the 1950s. There's, robots, rocket ships, flying saucers, all, old, but still with the original boxes and everything, which is the way toy collectors really like to find their tin toys.
Are we putting toys in the November auction then?
We are.
Okay, so we got a whole segment of that as well. Still plenty of time, really, to consign. Email us at consign@donleyauctions.com.
Yep.
What I also saw amongst all of that were some of those old leaded soldiers. Those toy leaded soldiers.
Yeah, it was interesting to me.
Are those valuable today?
Well, yeah, they are. But, very often we sell them not by the ones, but by the lots. I mean, we'll sell 15 or 20 at a time. And as a matter of fact, we had a rather large collection of what I would call common lead soldiers. And so we put them all as one lot. And the owner was concerned, that we had grouped them like that. But the group still brought $700.
Yeah.
So they were very happy when they saw the results. If it's worth the money, it will appreciate that. I mean, people pay for what it's worth.
That's right. And, of course, my favorite soldiers are the ones in the movie Toy Story. The little plastic guys, the army men. We love them. But if you do have any toys, we're still taking some, I would say. There's never too many toys. Give us a call at 815-923-7000. Never too soon to consign to our November auction. Don't forget, folks, September, military firearms. Give us a call at 815-923-7000. When we come back, we're going to be talking to Shauna Donley to get an update on the Donley Group and what's happening in the real estate world. Don't go anywhere. AM 560, The Answer.
The Donley Auctions Hour continues now on AM 560, The Answer.
We are back with the Donley Auctions Hour. Thanks for sticking with us during that break. I'm Susan, co-owner of Donley Auctions, here with Randy Donley. And we have Shauna Donley on the phone with us today to give us an update on the Donley Group. Hi, Shauna. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
What's happening in real estate?
Well, we are very busy. The Donley Group is our new little venture that we've started in partnership with App Properties. I've been a real estate broker for 10 years and thought, what better time than now to be teaming up with our auction company? So we are very busy working with buyers and sellers on both sides. And I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about inspections today.
Okay.
Interesting.
You're doing a lot of that right now, aren't you?
We certainly are. And, you know, there's a common misconception about, I think a lot of sellers think that, okay, the attorney review letter comes out, buyers have had their inspection, here's what they're asking for, I have to fix everything. But that's not true because the inspection is still another part of the negotiation. So my tip for today is to tell all the sellers, when you receive an inspection request, you do not have to fix it. You can offer a credit, you can negotiate, you can fix some things or no things. So I think that's a very important tip. So sellers out there, don't get worried about what buyers come back with. When I work with buyers, I tell them to ask for the moon. Ask for it all. You want everything fixed, you want a big credit, ask for it.
That's
when
right.
I work with sellers, I say, hold on, guys, pump the brakes here. Let's actually see what we need to fix.
Shauna, I'm so glad you said that because I think most people believe the minute there's an inspection, that's a checklist that they just automatically have to do. And as what you're saying is that's just not the case.
Correct. I mean, now there are some things, safety issues, when I'm representing a seller. I do believe things like that should be fixed. But again, it's completely up to the seller. And that's where in Illinois, buyers and sellers are required to hire real estate attorneys for their transaction. That's where your other hired professional is going to come into play to really give you the best advice possible. Mm-hmm. It's always more expensive if you don't hire a professional.
Right, right.
So you don't do the negotiations. They would hire someone else to do that?
Everything goes through the attorneys once you're under contract.
Okay.
So I advise, but all communication once you're under contract goes through an attorney between the buy side and the sell side.
I never knew that. Good tip.
Yep.
Thank you, Shauna, for that.
You know, I still can't believe how many people call us to sell their antiques and then end up saying, hey, you know, I heard you guys can do the real estate too. These are lining up for us right now, people wanting us to sell their property for them.
Exactly. And as exciting as it is, that does not mean that we are too busy for your phone calls. We have a team, but you can reach me directly. My cell phone number is on our website. So definitely check out Donley Auctions if you have any real estate questions. And we also have partners in all 50 states. We get leads for antiques and auctions in all 50 states, so we can do the same thing and help you guys buy and sell across the country.
And to repeat, Shauna, we're not auctioning these properties. You are selling them through your real estate service.
Correct. The Donley Group is listing or representing buyers through App Properties Christie's International.
That's great information, Shauna. Thank you very much for that. And if you do need to get in touch with any of us for consigning, selling, auctioning, 815-923-7000. Our website where you can find Shauna on our real estate tab is DonleyAuctions.com. So don't forget, upcoming auctions, folks, September 9th, the camera collection, September 23rd and 24th, guns and military. Call us. We want your items, and we want to sell them for you at a good value. Join us next week. We're going to have more interesting stories, aren't we, Randy?
That we are.
We are. You're listening to us here on AM 560, The Answer. I'm Susan.
And I'm Randy Donley. And we'll see you at the auction.
Thanks for listening to the Donley Auctions Hour on AM 560, The Answer. Check out all the latest information on upcoming auctions and collectibles at DonleyAuctions.com. And while you're there, you can contact someone about buying or selling your collectibles or estates. That's DonleyAuctions.com.